What if everything you have been told about your joints is wrong? What if the sentence your doctor said, the one that sounded final, the one that felt like a door slamming shut, your cartilage is gone, and it's not coming back? What if that sentence was never the full truth? Millions of people right now are living in daily pain, canceling plans, skipping the activities they love, watching their bodies slowly betray them, all because they were handed that verdict and told to just manage it. But what if managing it was never the ceiling? What if the ceiling was always higher than anyone let you believe? Here is what we know. Somewhere inside a research lab, scientists just cracked open a door that the medical world has kept closed for decades. A study published in late 2025 out of one of the most prestigious medical universities in the United States didn't just suggest that cartilage might be able to heal. It showed, in a living biological system, exactly how to push it in that direction. One molecule, one pathway, one injection, and the joints started coming back. I know that sounds like the beginning of a story too good to be true. But stay with me, because by the end of this video, you are going to understand something about your own body that most people never get told. Before we go any further, if you are watching this and you have knee pain, hip pain, shoulder stiffness, or any kind of joint problem, you are exactly where you need to be right now. Hit that subscribe button and tap the bell icon so you never miss a video like this one. This channel exists for one reason: to give you honest, evidence-based information about arthritis and joint health that actually helps you move forward. And drop a comment below right now. Tell me where your pain is. Knee, hip, shoulder, somewhere else? I read every single one. My name is Dr. Vanse, and welcome to Arthritis Channel. Now let's get into it, because to truly understand why this new research matters, you have to first understand what is actually happening inside a damaged joint, and why the body has such a hard time fixing it on its own. Picture your knee. Inside that joint, coating the ends of the bones where they meet, is a layer of cartilage. It is smooth, it is firm, and its entire job is to absorb shock and allow the joint to glide without grinding. Now imagine a small section of that surface develops a defect. A worn-down patch. A gap. In the medical world, we call it a cartilage lesion. But in plain terms, think of it like a pothole forming in a road. And here is the problem. A pothole that never gets filled does not stay the same size. Every vehicle that passes over it makes it worse. The same thing happens inside your joint. Every step you take, every stair you climb, every mile you walk, if that defect is not addressed and the right conditions are not in place for healing, the damage tends to spread rather than shrink. And over enough time, what started as a small rough patch can become widespread joint degeneration. But here is the part that most patients are never fully walked through. Cartilage damage is not just a structural, mechanical problem. There is a biological chain reaction that gets triggered the moment cartilage starts breaking down, and that chain reaction can be just as destructive as the original injury itself. When tiny particles of degraded cartilage float loose inside the joint, they irritate the synovium, the thin tissue lining that surrounds the entire joint cavity. Once that lining gets aggravated, it launches an inflammatory response. Signaling molecules flood the area. Fluid accumulates. The joint swells. Pain increases. Stiffness settles in. And the longer that inflammatory process runs unchecked, the more it accelerates the destruction of the very cartilage you were trying to protect in the first place. This is why two people can have the exact same amount of cartilage loss on an X-ray and feel completely different. One person walks into my office and says the pain is manageable. Another person is barely sleeping, can't go up a flight of stairs, and feels like their entire quality of life has been taken from them. The imaging looks similar, but the biology is very different. Age plays a role. Body weight plays a role. Genetics play a role. Activity level plays a role. And metabolic health, the way your body handles blood sugar, inflammation, and fat tissue, plays a much bigger role than most people realize. Because once the inflammatory engine inside that joint gets running at full speed, small damage can spiral into something far more serious far faster than anyone expected. And that progression, left unchecked in enough people, eventually leads to the conversation everyone dreads, the conversation about joint replacement surgery. Now, that is not where I want to leave you, because there is genuinely good news, both in the form of what we can do right now, today, and in the form of what the science is telling us about tomorrow. So let's walk through both. When someone comes into my office with knee osteoarthritis, the first approach is almost never surgical. The evidence is clear that conservative, non-surgical management, when done correctly and consistently, can make a profound difference in pain, function, and how fast the disease moves. That plan typically starts with medication, movement, body weight management, and in selected cases, injections. On the medication side, the most widely used options are anti-inflammatory drugs and corticosteroids. They can bring real relief, especially in flare-ups. but they are not a long-term solution on their own. Taken too frequently or over too long a period, these medications carry risks. They can affect the stomach lining, blood pressure, kidney function, and blood sugar levels. They are tools, not cures. And anyone using them chronically without a broader strategy in place is managing symptoms without addressing the underlying disease process. When it comes to joint injections, the most commonly known option is the corticosteroid shot. Fast-acting, often effective for short-term pain relief. But here is what I want every patient to hear clearly. Repeated corticosteroid injections are not a neutral act. The research tells us that frequent use of intra-articular steroids may actually contribute to cartilage breakdown over time. So while a well-timed steroid injection can absolutely have a role in a treatment plan, leaning on it indefinitely as the primary strategy is not safe and it is not smart. Hyaluronic acid injections are another option many patients are familiar with. The idea behind them is that injecting a lubricating substance into the joint improves the internal environment and reduces friction. For some patients, this works reasonably well and provides meaningful symptom relief. But again, the problem I see repeatedly is patients who get an injection, feel better, come back in 6 months for another one, and never actually make the lifestyle and structural changes that would allow the joint to function better long-term. The injection becomes the whole plan instead of a support within a bigger plan. And when injections become a substitute for addressing root causes, joint mechanics, muscle strength, body weight, movement patterns, you are not healing anything. You are renting comfort. That is a point I come back to constantly on this channel. Injections have a legitimate role, but they work best when they are used strategically, as part of a complete approach that includes building the strength, mobility, and metabolic health that protects the joint over time. Now, one injectable option that has been getting more serious attention recently is platelet-rich plasma, or PRP. In more recent international orthopedic guidelines and consensus statements, PRP has been recognized as a reasonable option for selected patients, particularly those with mild to moderate knee osteoarthritis, because of its potential to reduce inflammation and improve symptoms. But I want to be straightforward with you. PRP is not a cartilage regenerator in the way that a lot of marketing makes it sound. It does not reverse osteoarthritis. It does not rebuild lost tissue in any dramatic, proven way. For the right patient, it can be a genuinely helpful tool. For others, it may provide little benefit. Managing those expectations honestly is part of responsible care. There are also surgical options on the table for certain patients, particularly younger individuals with focal cartilage defects rather than widespread joint deterioration. These procedures can include matrix-based cartilage repair, collagen scaffolding approaches, and other restorative techniques. In the right hands, with the right indication, some of these surgeries produce excellent outcomes. But surgery always comes with recovery time, rehabilitation, financial cost, and risk. It is not the easy answer. It is a serious decision that should never be made lightly or before conservative options have been genuinely exhausted. And now, let's talk about the research that has people in the orthopedic and rheumatology world sitting up and paying very close attention. In late 2025, scientists at Stanford Medicine published a study focused on a specific enzyme involved in how cartilage ages and degrades. The enzyme is called 15-PGDH. Without getting lost in the biochemistry, here is what matters. When the researchers blocked this enzyme in aged and injured mice, something remarkable happened. The cartilage in those joints showed measurable signs of repair and regeneration. The animals also demonstrated reduced osteoarthritis-related pain behaviors. In other words, interfering with this one molecular pathway appeared to push the cartilage toward healing rather than continued breakdown. Now I have to be precise here, because this matters. This was an animal study. It was not a human clinical trial. It does not mean a cure is available next month. It does not mean severe osteoarthritis can be reversed in a human patient right now with a single shot. What it means is something more fundamental and, in many ways, more important than a headline. It means the biological assumption that cartilage simply cannot regenerate. The assumption that has been handed to patients for decades as though it were a law of nature may not be as airtight as we thought. For the longest time, one of the most frustrating limitations in joint medicine has been this. We could treat the pain, we could slow the progression, we could manage the inflammation, but we had almost no tools that genuinely pushed damaged cartilage toward biological repair. This study opens a door into that space. It identifies a specific molecular target. It demonstrates that targeting that pathway produces a real, measurable regenerative response in joint tissue. And it raises a genuinely exciting possibility that in the not-too-distant future, we may have injectable therapies that do not just mask symptoms or slow decay, but actually help the body rebuild what has been lost. That is not science fiction. That is the direction the evidence is pointing. But here's my honest message to you, and I want you to hear this clearly. The fact that this research is promising does not mean you should disengage from the strategies that already have strong evidence right now. The patients I see who do best, who hold their disease at bay the longest, who stay active the longest, who delay or avoid surgery, are not the ones waiting for a miracle. They are the ones who take the biology seriously and attack it from every angle available today while staying informed about what may become available tomorrow. That means keeping body weight in a healthy range, because every extra pound of weight translates into several extra pounds of force across the knee joint with every step. That means eating in a way that reduces systemic inflammation rather than feeding it. That means moving, consistently, intelligently, with purpose. And if you have been told to stop moving because of your arthritis, I want to push back on that hard. For the vast majority of people with osteoarthritis, controlled movement and targeted strengthening are among the most powerful treatments available. The joint needs load to stay healthy. Muscles around the joint need to be strong to protect it. A body that stops moving does not protect itself. It accelerates the very breakdown it is trying to avoid. Leave a comment right now if your pain got significantly worse during a period when you stopped moving, whether that was during the pandemic lockdowns, after an injury, or because someone told you to rest indefinitely. I see this story in my patient history every single day. And I want people watching this channel to know, movement, done properly, is medicine. So what does the right plan actually look like? It starts with an honest assessment of where you are. How much cartilage loss do you have? What is driving the inflammation? What is your current strength and movement capacity? What is your metabolic health doing? From that baseline, the strategy gets built, and it looks different for everyone. Some patients benefit from an injection to calm inflammation enough to participate in rehab. Some need a structured strengthening program before anything else will stick. Some are good candidates for PRP as part of a broader plan. A smaller group may eventually need surgical intervention. But across all of those scenarios, the patients who take ownership of the lifestyle factors, the weight, the diet, the movement, the sleep, consistently do better than those who treat the condition as something that happens to them rather than something they can actively shape. As newer regenerative technologies continue to move from laboratory research into human trials and eventually into clinical practice, the window of time during which patients maintain as much healthy tissue as possible becomes increasingly important. The more joint you protect today, the more there is to work with when the next generation of treatments becomes available. This is not a passive waiting game. It is an active race to be in the best possible biological position when the tools improve, and based on research like the Stanford study, those tools may be arriving sooner than anyone expected. I want to close with this. The reason I make these videos is not to sell you a supplement or push you toward a specific product. It is because information is protection. When you understand your disease, when you understand the biology, the options, the evidence, and the direction the science is heading, you are no longer a passive recipient of whatever happens to you. You become someone who can ask the right questions, make the right decisions, and build a real strategy for your joints and your quality of life. If you found this video valuable, subscribe to Arthritis channel right now and hit the bell icon so you never miss an upload. This is exactly the kind of content we produce. Honest, detailed, evidence-driven discussions about joint health that give you something real to work with. And leave a comment below, not just about where your pain is, but also tell me what topics you want covered next. What questions do you have? What has your experience been? What do you want to understand better? Your comments shape what we make next, and I personally read them. In our next video, we're going to be diving deep into one of the most misunderstood aspects of osteoarthritis management, and it has nothing to do with any injection or medication. It is something almost every arthritis patient overlooks, and once you understand it, the way you approach your daily movement will never be the same. You do not want to miss it. Until then, stay informed, stay consistent, and take care of those joints.